So I'm going to show you how to replace the extractor. I got a new one here from Wilson Combat. They call it the bulletproof blue extractor, and it looks like this. Of course, most of that is inside the gun. So what we're going to do first, of course, unloaded gun. First thing we're going to do is field strip it, and if you don't know how to do the field strip, I will put a link in the video below on all the exact steps to do that. So basically we want to get to the slide. So we want to remove the guide rod assembly and the barrel from the slide. What the extractor does is it holds onto the brass, grabs onto the rim, the back of the brass, and after the gun is fired and the bullet goes down the barrel, the pressure causes the gun to cycle, and it pulls the brass out of the barrel, and then it slams the other end into this ejector, and that action causes the brass to catapult out of the gun. So that's basically how that works. So when you order your new extractor, you need to know whether your gun is a 80 series or 70 series 1911. And in simple terms, an 80 series has this plunger on the other side, on the underside of the slide, and that's an extra internal hammer block is what that is. But the series 70 does not have that, and it requires an extractor that's slightly different. So you do need to know that. So you want to take your slide off and see if you have that plunger on the bottom of your slide. So to remove the extractor, this is the back of the extractor right here. This is this part. So we need to press the firing pin down to get this metal piece to slide out. The only way to do that is to press this plunger a little bit. When you press that plunger, it will allow this pin to go further. So once you start pressing it down, you want to bump that piece of metal out a little bit and then relax the pin. The firing pin is kind of stuck under there and it's partially released. So we can now slide this out. Okay, taking that out. So now you can see the firing pin still hasn't come all the way out, and that is because this plunger has caught there's another loop on there, another catch that catches it. So right now, if we press this plunger, this is going to come out. It's going to kind of launch out a little bit, so because there's a spring. So you want to put your finger over there and press that down, and then it pops out. Right? And then to get it all the way out, you want to keep a little tension on that to open up the hole. And there's your firing pin and firing pin spring. So if you look down in there, you can see the hole's partially blocked, and as you press this plunger down, it opens up the hole, and that's what keeps things from coming out. Okay, so now that the firing pin and firing pin spring are out of there, we can just press on the front of the extractor. This is the end of the extractor right here. You just want to push that straight out the back. And then this is the back of the extractor, and this will start to come out as you push on that. And just kind of push it out the back. So here it comes out the back, and you're going to have to turn it a little bit and work it right on out of there. And that is pretty much it. It just came out that easy. Now we're just going to kind of clean the channel that it was in and get it ready for the new one. What I'm going to do I'm going to clean those channels a little bit. I'm going to get some original gun oil, which is also a cleaner, and I'm going to put a few drops on cotton swab. With this one, remember, you open it up by pressing the pin a little bit. So I'm going to swab that channel out, and then I'm going to go into the extractor channel and get that nice and cleaned out. What we also need to do to get all the way down through there is we want to get some pipe cleaners. That way you can get it all the way through, get it really clean. I'm going to get off any fuzz that you leave behind. Now, I usually clean this a little bit when I'm cleaning my gun, so this is not very dirty at this point, so I'm not getting a whole lot of crud out of here. But this is what I do usually. I'm going to clean this out, get it nice and clean. As you can see, that comes all the way through to the channel there. So, all right, now I got it nice and clean. It's time to get rid of our old extractor and put in the new one. So let's get that going. All right, to put the new extractor into your slide, you want to put it in, you want to start it out in this orientation, facing up like that. Get it in just about all the way, and then turn it around. So this notch right here needs to line up with this notch right here, so that this metal piece will slide in there. So you're gonna have to fiddle around a little bit unless you get it perfect. You want this flat side to be completely lined up with this line here. So this flat side needs to go in just right. So it might take a little fiddling and getting it to go in there. You might have to force it a little bit. Before you push it too far, you want to line that up and get it nice and straight. Because the further in it is, the harder it is it's going to be to rotate that. So then push it down, keeping it lined up. Now when you get it close, you might want to put this in here, and again it goes in this way. You want to start that in there. Put a little pressure on that while you press this down. You're going to want that to line up. Oh, there it goes. Okay, so now that slides in. So the extractor is in place exactly where we want it. So now I'm going to push this back out because I need to get the firing pin and spring back in there. So now we're going to get the firing pin. If you haven't cleaned this, you can pull the firing pin spring off and clean the firing pin. I've already done that. And you don't want to put any oil on this because it will attract dirt. Open up that hole in there, as you can see. So we're going to let that drop in. While putting pressure on this pin, I'm going to push this down about this far. I'm going to let go of that pin, gently release pressure on this so that it's captive. So now that's stuck in there. All right, so now, again, this piece goes in this orientation right into this slot, just like that. All right, so now we're going to lay this on the table. On the table, in case this pin comes flying out, it's not going to hit you in the face. So you need a little pressure. You need a little pressure on this plunger. But before you do that, because if you do that now, it's going to fly out. So you want to put pressure on this pin, push in a little bit, and then press that plunger down a little until you can get this to go further in. And then while you're holding it in there, you want to press down on this just far enough to block this from coming out. Pressure first, then the pin, push it in there. All right, perfect. Now it's not all the way in yet, but we pushed this down far enough to hold that pin down. So now if I press this all the way, pin pops back up, everything is back in place. All right, so that's pretty much it. Now we can just reassemble the gun and we're good to go. I'll put all the links down below for everything I have used here. So now I'm just going to, I have videos on this that I'll link to, but I'm just going to put the gun back together. You can watch if you want, but you may already know how to do this. With that link sitting down like that. Line it up with the link. Press that in place. Get this notch lined up right in the middle of that square hole. So we can press that in, move it all the way back, remove the takedown pin. All good to go. Just work the slide a little to make sure everything's back in place. And there you have it. If necessary, wipe off the gun if you've got any excess oil coming out. All right, so please give me a thumbs up if you found this video useful. And I'd appreciate it if you use some of the links below to check out some of the products that I've used here. Thank you.